Hello friends, I welcome you to the biology class, and in this class I'm going to be talking about variation. In the first place, I would like to thank you for always joining me in this class, and I would like you to subscribe to this channel. If you have not done so, can you please pause this video and take a moment to subscribe and then like the video. I really appreciate you doing that for me. Thank you very much. So like I said earlier, in this video I'm talking about variation. What is variation? When you talk about variation, you're talking about the differences that occurs between parent and offspring of a particular species. Have you ever wondered the difference between yourself and your other siblings? Okay. Have you ever wondered the difference between yourself and your parents? Okay. So living organisms, even though they are of the same species, yet have differences. That means they can differ one from another. You can be able to identify this is a species A, this is a species B. A very good example, if you have twins, you have fraternal twins, you have identical twins. Even in the case of identical twins, when the twins are said to have been formed from a particular spermatozoa and an egg being fertilized together, and then the embryo went ahead to divide to form identical twins, you can still be able to spot the difference between those identical twins. So that's what variation refers to, and it could be genetic. Okay, variation could be as a result of genetic inheritance, or could be environmental influence. What I mean is what you have in the difference between you and your other siblings could be as a result of the gene you have inherited from your what? From your parents. And on the other hand, it could be as a result of the influence of the environment, the type of food you eat, the environment you grew up in, and so on and so forth. Okay, so variation simply refers to as differences between different organisms of the same species and how they differ from one another. And then we have two major types of variation. We have morphological variation and we have physiological variation. When we talk about morphological variation, this in particular refers to the types of differences that can be observed. Okay, observable differences or physical differences, the differences you can observe and you can see. For example, when you are talking about the variation in plants, you can talk about height of the plant. Okay, you can talk about color of the fruit, you can talk about the size of the plant. Those are variations in plants. And on the other hand, in animals, you can talk about also height of the animal or height of the organism. You can talk about the color of the hair of the organism. You can talk about different things that make the organism to differ from other organisms of the same species. So that is morphological variation. Apart from that, fingerprint is also another example of morphological variation, because it's a type of variation that can be observed, that can be seen, even though there are no two individuals in the world that have the same type of fingerprint. Yet fingerprint is an observable character, so it is a kind of morphological variation that exists between living organisms. So that tells us that the kind of differences or the type of variation that you have between living organisms that you can see, like the color of the organism or the height of the organism or the size of the organism, all this refers to morphological variation. So the second type of variation is physiological variation. In physiological variation, you talk about the differences between the behavior of a particular organism to its environment, how an organism behave or react to certain situation in its environment. That refers to the physiological variation. Apart from that, in human especially, when you talk about physiological variation, you can talk about the disparity in the taste of phenylethylcarbamide. You can talk about the ability to roll the tongue. Some individuals can roll the tongue, others can't. For example, I can't roll the tongue. Since I've been teaching biology for so many years, I've been trying, and since it's a type of discontinuous variation, Okay, so I've tried to roll my tongue severally year after year as I teach this topic, but I've never been able to do that because it's a physiological variation which gives rise to a discontinuous variation. That means it doesn't change. Okay, other examples could also be your blood group. If you are blood group A when you were born, that's what you're going to remain till you die. If you are blood group B or blood group AB or blood group O, okay, if you are if your genotype is AS or AA or SS, it's going to remain like that. It doesn't change. So those are physiological variation. Like I talk about the first type of variation, which is morphological, I want to add that morphological variation also give rise to a type of continuous variation. What does that mean? For example, your height last 5 years or 5 years ago is not the same height you have presently because you are still growing. For example, as a young person, you are in the stage of your growth we call the exponential stage. That means you are growing more rapidly, possibly in your height, in your size, and all that. So those are morphological variation, and they give rise to continuous variation. You continue to change in your height, in your size, and possibly in the color of your skin too, depending on the environment you find yourself. Okay, so those are the type of morphological variation giving rise to continuous variation, which we keep changing, unlike physiological variation that give rise to discontinuous variation. Like I said earlier, I cannot roll my tongue 10 years ago, even as I've always tried to do anytime I teach this topic, but today I can't still roll my tongue. Okay, so it is still a kind of what? Physiological variation giving rise to discontinuous variation. Ability to taste the PTC or your blood group or your genotype, all those remain the same, and they are giving rise to a kind of discontinuous variation. That means that variation is static, it remains the same from the beginning of the life of the organism to the end of the life of the organism. Such variation does not change. Okay, so let me quickly talk about the types of blood groups still under physiological variation. When you talk about the types of blood group, you have blood group A, like I said earlier, you have blood group B, you have blood group AB, and you have blood group O. We call blood group O universal donor. That means they can donate to any of the other blood group. They can donate to A, donate to B, donate to AB. They are universal donor. On the other hand, blood group AB, they are referred to as universal recipient. They can receive from blood group A, they can receive from B, they can receive from O, and of course from AB. Okay, so while blood group A and B, they are referred to as codominant. When I say codominant, it means such blood group have the same character. That means blood group A can only accept from blood group A. Okay, blood group O or B can only accept from blood group B, and vice versa. Okay, so that's why we call them co-dominant. So in this type of variation, a particular organism maintain whatever type of blood group it has from beginning of its life to the end of its life. Okay, so quickly I will talk about the application of variation. What's the importance of variation? Number one, variation can be used in crime detection. Okay, since we have said that no two individuals on the face of the earth has the same type of fingerprint. Fingerprint is peculiar to each person. So that means this type of variation, morphological variation, can be used to detect whoever commits a particular crime. Okay, all that is needed is to be able to get an exhibit from the crime scene and then take it for a forensic study to detect or to find out the type of fingerprint, and then the suspect that have been rounded up can then be compared with the fingerprint that have been harvested from the crime scene. Apart from that, it cannot be used to determine paternity dispute. In the case where a child, in the case where a mother does not know the father of a child, yes, it's possible. It's possible that a mother will not be able to ascertain who is the father of the child. Maybe she has multiple partners at a particular time and they all have sex with her at that particular time. Yes, it's possible she will not even be able to determine who is the father of the child. So variation in this case, you can make use of the blood group or the genotype in order to determine paternity. So I thank you once again for joining me in this class, and if you have not subscribed, please click the subscribe button, and notification bell is also there for you to click on, and then like the video, share it with your colleagues so that you can spread the knowledge of variation and of course other videos that I've posted in time past and that I will still continue to post. Thank you very much for joining me once again. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next class.